I've spent my life on the run from myself, on the run from everything that I am, fitting into spaces and places and inserting myself into people's lives because they seem to have it together. They seem to have it all, and the wisdom, the knowledge, the navigation skills, the works. I'm not talking about material stuff. I'm not talking about having money and fame and fortune. I'm talking about having their shit together. And life has taught me time and time again that nobody has their shit together, not 100%. It has shown me where I have lacked. It has shown me where I have masked. It has shown me reflections of myself in so many ways. But in that process, I absolutely lost myself. I had no idea who I was underneath it all. Done so many things, had so many relationships, used sex when I was younger to feel connected. I lost count of the sexual partners I had when I was young. Part pride and part deep, deep shame. Guess which part of that stayed with me? Of course, the deep, deep shame. But I had my masks, right? And every time I felt the shame, another mask went on. Every time I felt the energy suck dry when I walked into a room, another mask would go on. Whenever I was asked something that I didn't have an answer to, another mask, and another mask, and another mask, so on and so forth. Even deep in grief, if it wasn't the right space or the right time to allow myself to grieve, then I wouldn't. And another mask went on. It took over 15 years for me to grieve the loss of my father. The masks and the identities that I built up around that. The role that I perceived to play in that. The strong one, the nurse, the one who knew what they were doing, the one who could hold that for everybody. It really wasn't my place to. It wasn't even the reality, but in my head, that was how I was perceived. I was asked recently to consider where shame is still sitting in my body, where shame is still having an effect on how I show up for myself and in the wider world and sharing my medicine. It was what seemed like quite an easy response. You know, I started looking back at all these times and places where I felt that deep shame. But actually what I realized was that I have already transmuted the majority of that shame. So then the question became deeper because, well, there's clearly shame in the body. There's clearly shame that I'm holding on to. Why am I not able to show up for myself exactly as I am? So there's stuff that I've transmuted, that I've come to terms with, that I've moved on from. Shame within a marriage, between this sexuality, having an affair, around money. You know, I couldn't ever be in a room at one stage with people who had money. I thought they were vulgar. And this is due to conditioning. That's a whole other story, you know, that's a whole other thread there. The purpose of this is, you know, where did that shame come from? Actually, what I've found is that this shame comes from not being what other people expect me to be, not living up to other people's expectations. So obviously giving a shit so deeply that it creates this stuckness in my being. A huge part of this that's come up is the work ethic. You know, the fact that we are conditioned to believe that we have to work 40 plus hours, 70 in a lot of people's cases, just to earn a living, just to earn a place in society, to be respected, receive an exchange for that. So like that, these old sayings, you know, my grandmother, oh, nose to the grindstone, and you know, if you're not working yourself into an early grave, then you must be lazy. A real slavery mindset, right? You know, go out and you work all of those hours, and then somebody will give you something in exchange that is nowhere near your value. The value for your time, your expertise, your emotional and mental well-being, your love and compassion, whatever it is that, you know, whichever gifts you are taking into that space, there's no way in the world that that they are recognized and paid for in a fair energy exchange. And then on the flip side, of course, there's the people and the saying that goes, if you do something that you love, you will never work a day in your life, right? And this one really hit home, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I am pouring myself into the things that I love, which is really going into the psyche, really tearing down the walls, like a little private investigator into my own being, creating something useful, creative, worthwhile, powerful toolkit to help other women to find their voices, to find their way back home, to be able to express themselves fully, to find their expression of themselves. Because let's face it, most of us get lost along the way, stuck in these roles of, you know, working, raising children, looking after parents, looking after grandchildren, keeping home, all while desperately trying to find a way to relax from that, to find a way to connect with friends and to enjoy life and look after ourselves, you know, and fit in the healthy eating, the healthy lifestyle, the movement, the dance, the joy, the laughter. Instead, we are conditioned to get up every day, to get dressed, to shower, to get dressed, to travel, to work. Be told when you can have a break, when you can go to the toilet, when you can eat, when you can go home, what needs to be done each day. Somebody else is paying us to do that. This creates this hierarchy. So somebody is there paying us to turn up every day, creating this illusion of superiority, of loyalty to somebody else, because we are going in and doing all of these things, but they're actually paying us for it. And wow, we are grateful for the exchange. It might seem like it, but I'm actually not knocking the system. The system works for the majority. And I could talk for hours on whether that is right or wrong and how it could be changed and, you know, all of those nuances. But that, again, is not what I'm here to do. I'm here to share is, of course, I have been a part of that system all of my life. My career was nursing, and my last job, I went through burnout. And that led to me having to leave due to ill health because I couldn't see a way through it. Now, this has led to a breakdown, which sounds really dramatic, and it fucking is. There's no way of dressing that up. It is really fucking horrific. But even in the depths of that, I knew exactly what was happening, that I was being broken down deliberately so that I could find myself again. I went past the bottom of that well. I went into past the bones, past the sinew, past the blood and the cells, and I went in deep, completely completely broken to become rebuild, or to start the rebuild. And that rebuild has taken me almost 3 years to get to this space. In that space, there has been a lot of journaling, there has been a lot of writing, a lot of talking with those closest to me, lots of really conscious conversations. And I have learned an incredible amount about myself. As the masks started to come off, which was kind of I'm going to say the final, although there is nothing that's ever really final, the final part of this, the big part of this process was understanding myself and how my brain works, how I actually function on a day-to-day basis. And that involved the removal of masks, one by one, in full acceptance of everything that I am, and that I always have been underneath these masks that society, in part, but in my search for more, I had added these masks one by one as I was searching for that love, which I now recognize is completely in here. This is self-love. But I was searching for that externally. So I was trying to fit in wherever I could in search of this thing that was always right here in my heart. Part after this, so during, as this process continues, I have realised that, well, I have been shown that my mission is to help other women like me who found that they didn't have a voice, that they lost their voice along the way, to find a way to express themselves, whether that's from speaking, being seen, being heard, singing, dancing, artistry, painting, creativity. It's finding that connection to your creative womb space, connection back into our wombs, and the connection with the earth, that we can become rooted in exactly our power, in our essence. And from here, when we are rooted in this safety, that is where the magic begins. So I'm here, I have billions of ideas, I write things down, and I just never get started. Now, I do get started, I just don't finish. And I recognise that that's part of my wiring, that's part of who I am, and I embrace that now. However, there's always more work that can be done. There's always more, a deeper level that we can go to help us to understand more deeply and actually then start to move past those limitations. Where I have been very unkind to myself has been, I have been waiting for the right moment to get started, to write the program, to, there's so much that I have to offer, and so many great tips and activations that I can share with others. Toolbox is overflowing, right? I make inroads and I get very excited and I'm ready to go, and then there's always these distractions. Well, guess what? I realise I create those distractions on some level. Back to this work around shame. What I have realised is that there is not the old shames. They've not come back up to surface at all. They have been transmuted. They have been dealt with. There is nothing that I can recall in this space that will give me such a feeling of shame that it will stop me from moving forwards. So when I was looking at this on a deeper level, the realization is that I'm already working. I'm working pretty much 24 hours a day. I just don't have a job to go to. I am that job. I am working this every single day. This is the healing. This is the work. This is my reclamation. I'm writing, I'm speaking, I'm teaching. I am showing others how to do this. I am sharing these spaces. I'm creating a process by going through the process. Chipping away at everything below the surface, going into those deep, deep spaces. Already created the foundations. I have the knowledge, I have the skills, I have the experiences. But I didn't have the acceptance of exactly where I am. The acknowledgement that this is where I am. My working brain thinks I'm somewhere still at the very beginning of my journey, because I'm not going out to work to be paid by somebody else for my knowledge, skills, and not being told when I can go for a break, when I can eat. I'm making those decisions and choices for myself now. Been working with the ethic of that work has to be visible. People have to see you leaving for work every day at 7 a.m. to get to your 9 to 5 job, to arrive home at 7 p.m. to accept that what you are doing is worthy of being called work and worthy of an exchange. I love what I do now. There's no off switch. I literally create 24/7. During the day, I create, I work, I might co-create, I remember, I receive. And at night, I'm working in other realms. I am working with my inner self, some might call it your higher self, but this is the inner me. This is my soul essence. I'm working with my soul essence, retrieving information, retrieving soul fragments, forgotten pieces of me. And as they come back to me, then more questions appear, and more teachings appear, and more realizations. And this is where the magic is. This is 24/7. So the crux of this is that I have been counterproductive, counterintuitive, because I have been telling myself that I need to be working more, that I wasn't doing enough, belittling the work, the healing, the processes, and giving away my findings, my life's work to people who have no appreciation for it, who have no appreciation for the processes that I have gone to and gone through. Treating this as if work is something outside of me, something separate, fully owning the importance of what I am going through, what I am creating, and how many people's lives I impact by simply speaking my truth. I have given my truth, my innermost soul workings to others as I've worked through this process. And people have seen what I have before I have been able to see it. And some people have used that and mistreated that and manipulated it to somehow make it their own. We all, well, I'm going to say some of us, not all, because that's quite a sweeping generalization. But I know many people that feel this on a very deep level, that their ideas, their creations have been taken and changed and manipulated into sometimes much better creations. You have to look at, there's enough room for all of us on this planet. But this happens. This is real time. This is what happens. We share our innermost, and then we'll find somebody else speaking about it in the next breath. And I'm just going to reframe that right here, because it's quite an honour. It's quite an honour that somebody sees so much magic in what you are creating, that it then sparks an idea or a creation of their own that they then can go and bring to life. So really, really, thank you. But the flip side of that is seeing somebody run with your creations and your ideas and your thoughts has led to me getting stuck. Because, oh my gosh, well, they can do it. I can't do it. I don't know how to do it. They've got the skills, the knowledge, the warehouse, the spaces and places to do that. I don't yet. Whether these people know that, whether it's a conscious or unconscious, subconscious decision to do that, or their intention to make me feel stuck whilst they move forwards, is to what I'm going to say now, which is this is all part of the illusion. This is my movie, my illusions. I've created this. This is called radical responsibility. I see them for who they are and see their soul. And I thank them from the depths of my soul for the lessons that they came here to teach me and to show me that version of myself, my own insecurities, my own lack. So this little chapter has been about recognizing toxicity, about using my discernment first and foremost, trusting my guts, my intuition, my heart, and saying no confidently to not share my inner wisdom until I am ready to do so with others. that going for walks, exercising, doing my own practices, they're not separate from the work. They are the work. My job, my calling, my right and responsibility to myself. In all of these as separate, as things that I don't have time to do because I should be working. Being fit and healthy is a responsibility to myself only. That is equal to, if not more so, than the work processes alongside it. They may not, these processes are cycles, they're structures, but they may not have a specific order or structure, and that's okay. Let me tell you, writing, journaling, spaffing out with like my best friends, recording myself, learning to show up for myself, washing, dressing, beautifying, eating, hydrating, socializing, grandparenting, cleaning, tidying, gardening, sleeping, rituals, practices, contract breaking, energy saving, working, downloading, consulting with my oracles, guides, angels, all of those energetic practices. Every moment is a working process, not a work in progress, a working process. And this is my truth. Work in progress implies that work will never be done, will never be complete. I am learning or teaching all of the time, non-stop. Now this is made for sharing. This is my truth, right here, right now, in this space, in this time, in this dimension. This is my truth. I slay all of the shame around not working for a system that does not serve me. I slay the shame of not earning a set amount every week, every month, every year. I slay the shame of not being able to attend places and spaces that I would like to, that I would have when I was employed by other people, when I had a regular income. I slay that shame. Because I am standing in my truth, and I have so much to offer. I have so many women to serve. My mission is to serve as many women as is possible within my lifetime. To show you how to, or to guide you, how to come back to you, how to return home. You are powerful, you are mighty, and you are still in there. That 3-year-old you, that knew nothing of conditioning, that knew nothing of being held back, nothing of having to fit in, that played freely, that spoke freely, that cried freely, that was able to say when they were hurting, that was able to say when they were full of joy, when they couldn't contain themselves. she's still there. I guarantee you. She just might require, she does require some love and some digging and that beautiful, safe womb space. That comfort, that love that will eventually guide her home.